Greetings and welcome to Zord's Planetary Space Program episode 32, where we are going strong and going to Vall. Yes, this is the general moon lander, which has not been used yet, but you'll see a lot more of it in the future. We have our crew on board, and we are heading out going to Vall. This lander may look small to you, but it's a versatile vehicle, and thanks to the nuclear engines, it's sort of quite efficient. So, according to my calculations, which may or may not be correct, we should have enough delta V to go from Leith to Vall to Bop to Pol and back to Leith without refueling. Now, that's a very rough calculation. It does not include fuel spent for landing, but apart from Vall, landing isn't going to be very difficult. So we'll see more closely when we have done the Vall landing. So we have got ourselves away from the station. We have planned our Vall encounter, or well, Leith ejection. So we're going to execute this, and this burn, as you see, is going to take quite a while, so I'm going to skip ahead, and we're almost done. Now again, because the Joule system is so small and all the moons are so close together, Hohmann transfers are almost impossible, or just, well, the simple Hohmann transfers are pretty much impossible. You have to have an apoapsis above your target orbit, because, well, yeah, the patched conics make it so that it's very difficult to make just a straight Hohmann transfer. But anyway, we have our Vall encounter, and we have a nice periapse already. We shouldn't need to do any corrections. So we're off and taking some screenshots on the way out. I wonder which of the many screenshots I took during this episode will be the thumbnail. It's very interesting every week. Okay, here we got our actual orbit. So let's just warp and watch the moons dance around as they do. Tie low in the background. And here comes Vall. Yes, our target. And that's not the orbit I was promised. My orbit had a periapsis of 50,000 meters. Not through the planet's surface. Well, we can fix this. And this maneuver is not even 100 meters per second. Should be plenty of room in our delta V budget to handle this maneuver. And it's not a complex maneuver either. You just burn what's it called, radial, away from the planet, or up if you're on the planet's equator. And yeah, we of course want to circularize when we get to periapse, and because we've got an inclination now, or maybe that was actually me since before, we could have carried this inclination with us from Delta Station. I do not know. Either how, we should take some screenshots, and then we should correct this inclination. And another huge burn, which we cut away. And we have, almost a circular orbit. We have moved our periapse ahead. So we're going to do another burn here. Nice with the engines compressing with the docking ports and everything. Yeah, this modular engines thing makes the designs less robust, significantly so. So we are going to do a deorbit burn, because we're going to land. There's no use sitting around in orbit. And yeah, I think we can actually land with the nuclear engines. I'm going to try. Anyway, so we just ditch the tank. And yeah, okay, we need to redo the maneuver node. We're gonna do sort of a suicide burn here, and there's not really any features on Vall. It's quite featureless, you might say. It's got some mountains and some lowlands, but that's about it. As long as you don't land on a mountain, you should be good. So that's kind of what I'm trying to accomplish here. Okay, so we're below the 1 times time acceleration barrier, and apparently this old SAS doesn't do a good job of rotational movement. Let's get rid of the parachute. Yeah, there we go. We don't need it at all for anything. We're not going to land on any place with atmosphere, and it's just 0.1 tons sitting, being useless. of course, if you remember, the point of the parachute from the start was to assist landing on Lathe. But this vehicle, I figured out, in fact, cannot take off from Lathe, not even almost. So that's why I sent the spaceplane. So we're going to try to land on Vall with the nuclear engines, and we have a very low thrust to weight ratio. And I'm trying to make sure that my vertical speed doesn't pick up too much. We want to keep it distinctly below 100. And we are getting close to the surface, so let's deploy the legs. This is going to be, it looks like it's going to be full burn all the way down. Actually, no. We have already killed all horizontal velocity. And now we just need to land carefully. There's a shadow. We are on the marker. Yeah, this looks good. I don't think we should need to be afraid. Let's just watch the landing. Come on, nice and gentle. Yes, that's probably one of the best landings I've made. It helps that we have a vehicle with not a lot more thrust than we need, which means that you can vary the throttle a lot without having the vehicle jerk away. So let's get the crew, the Kerbals, out on the surface. That's why we're here. We're gonna plant the flag. We're gonna get one more moon, or planet, this is a moon, down for the mission. Here we go, another screenshot. Lovely. Let's plant the flag. Oh, well, that's not very polite. Stabbing into the head with the flag. Vall landing site. Beautiful. So yeah, well, let's get everyone back. We don't really. Oh, the Kerbals. We don't really have a time to keep, but well, it's no use standing around either. Let's load everybody back up. See if he can make it without any accidents. No, he cannot. Oh, these Kerbals. For a game that's more or less a physics simulator sandbox, this game sure has some weird physics. Yeah, okay, so let's warp ahead. Warp one orbit too much. I just realized we are on a retrograde orbit. That was completely unintentional, but it doesn't really matter. Vall's surface rotation is low, just like the other moons in the Joule system, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we are going back up into orbit and going to rendezvous with the tank that's sitting there. And actually, now that we have landed on Vall, and the takeoff looks successful so far, shouldn't be any problems. We don't really need the chemical engines sitting on the tank. That's I don't know, a ton of extra mass that we don't need. So I'm thinking what we should do about those. I haven't checked. We may need them for ELO. I'm saving ELO for last. ELU. Maybe it's ELU instead of ELO. I think it's ELU. So I'm not gonna just throw them away, but I need to do some thinking of this. So we are matching our orbits. We are going to rendezvous, of course. And with a correction here, we should cross within 1 kilometer. So let's warp ahead. It's confusing that they're both ships, considering one of them doesn't have crew capacity. We should be close. There it is. Yeah, we're close. So, and relative velocity is low and good. Okay, so we are. Where is it? Should see it. Come on, with the light. There it is. There it is. So yeah, we should match rotation. It's probably easier to do it from the tank, seeing the tank has a well-placed RCS system. So we're probably just gonna fly it in from here. Yeah, this is the easiest part. And again, the old ASS isn't very good at compensating for rotation when you have these huge masses, that is the nuclear engines, sitting far out to the sides. So let's see, how much fuel did we spend here? Not a lot. We have so much fuel that it's justified to keep this extra tank when we're going to BOP. And when we go to BOP, we of course need to wait for a transfer window. So I'm setting up an alarm for that, roughly. and we see that we need to do the Moho vehicle correction burn before we do the BOP transfer. The BOP transfer, that's a fun word. Okay, so this thing is going to do a very large correction burn to get onto the same, or to get onto a inclined plane that will let it encounter Moho. And of course this is going to take forever, so we cut to one forever later, and we are getting very close to the Moho encounter. Now we need to make this periapsis low, so that we don't need to spend a lot of fuel getting into a good orbit. And we are dragging ourselves the last distance on 2 nuclear engines since the 4 main engines on the tanker ran out of fuel. Fortunately, we are very far from being out of fuel, seeing that the tanker itself is full, so I'm going to just refuel. So that won't be a problem. Now that I have refueled and we have also planned a BOP encounter, we can execute the BOP transfer. So let's warp into position. I'm gonna do this from the dark side of Vall, and one burn later we are getting very close to the target orbit. There we go. Do we have an encounter yet? There's the encounter. Okay, so since we are doing kind of weird encounter here with BOP being quite heavily inclined, this is gonna of course require some corrections, which we're going to apply when we exit Vall's sphere of influence. Here we go. Speaking of exiting the sphere of influence, let's do just that. It's quite a small sphere. Vall isn't very big. Yeah, that's not the orbit I want. This is the orbit I want. Thank you. And now let's execute this correction. It's not a very big one, and we still have plenty of fuel. Watching that, yeah, that's good. Yes, we want low periaps. So now we just need to wait to get to BOP, which we will do next time.